concept can partake in. So we're bringing the two elements together, both visually in the digital broadcasting world and auditorially or audio in the radio world, online internet broadcasting. So how you follow us and how you find us is this way, just to let you know. www.thepowerofvoices.com. Also, going to our website, you'll see links that will link you out to our YouTube live page. And you can go there and watch it directly if you'd like under thepowerofvoices.com. Also, there's other ways to partake in watching and listening at the same time. You can go to our other location at AVTV Live and the Digital Broadcasting Network at www.facebook.com/Jesse Torero. And that brings you out to Periscope and live stream, Instagram and Snapchat. We're good to have you along with us every Monday through Friday from 5 to 6 o'clock. It's the Jesse T Show, broadcasting live from the studio or out in the street. So today, I'm standing under a nice shady tree in the San Fernando Valley. That's a valley just northeast of downtown Los Angeles and the Los Angeles International Airport, where our studios are located. And the reason why we're out here in this suburb, for those of you who don't know Southern California, the reason why we're out here is we're here to talk about something that I think needs to be talked about, especially with the violence that has taken place in Florida over the last couple of days, especially with the violence that takes place every day in your community across this great nation we call America on God's blue-green earth, especially with the violence that has increased over the last couple of decades. As you can see, my head is always on the swivel when I'm out in the street and about, always checking the 360, because we are all concerned about violence, indiscriminate violence that happens for no reason, no rhyme. It just takes place, and innocent people are harmed and killed and maimed, and lives are destroyed. Our society has gotten much more violent in my lifetime. I'm 55 years old, and I do remember a time when I was young that I knew where I was at. It was okay. We left our doors unlocked. We left our cars unlocked. My father, I just took some gum out because I can't chew and talk at the same time. Well, actually, I can, but you're not supposed to. My father used to leave his wallet and the keys to the car underneath the front seat when we'd go into the restaurant or the grocery store. My grandfather never locked his house in Burbank, California. My mom and dad in Sun Valley, California, never thought about locking their front door. Even at night, we just shut the front door. Yeah, we had a dog, but everybody had a dog. We had no fences in our front yards. We had no high, spiky barbed wire fences or wrought iron fences. We had no big, giant, huge, giant pit bulls of 150 pounds and Rottweilers and scary, violent-looking, mean animals running after the gate. We didn't have any of this stuff. We didn't have to worry about somebody stealing our bicycles, or we didn't have to worry about somebody stealing the hose from your front yard or the patio furniture. We didn't have to worry about people driving down the street and indiscriminately throwing trash and not caring. We didn't have to worry about people driving 100 miles an hour down a residential street. Life was surely different when I was growing up. Life was, some say a lot more simple. Some say maybe we lived in a more naive, innocent world. I don't know if I could say that. The 1970s and 1980s were a tough time for this country, and the 1990s. I just think things have just gotten worse. We didn't have to worry about people pulling out guns and shooting each other. We didn't have to worry about people wanting to have car rage. jacking your car. We didn't have to worry about lots of shoplifting. The world was a different place. Two guys got together, they had an argument, the best one win by the hand in the fist. Nobody took a knife out. Nobody took a club out when I was growing up, where I was growing up. Maybe it was different for you in the city or community that you lived. Maybe it was more violent than that. But surely you must agree, violence has perpetuated itself to the degree now in our country that it's just frightening. You have to lock everything up. You have to worry about locking everything down. You're not supposed to keep anything in the front seat of your car. So when someone walks by, they see that in your front seat of your car, and they want to break your window, which takes about 2 seconds, and it's not that noisy, and then they take your stuff. You didn't have to worry about having alarms on your cars like we have to worry about now. What you had to worry about were things that were simple. But today, everything seems to be on the top of our minds in terms of our safety. It is an amazing time that we're living in now. It definitely is a changed time. Yesterday, on yesterday's show at thepowerofvoices.com, I railed pretty hard on this terrorist activity and my feelings about that. If you didn't have a chance to catch the live broadcast, I invite you to go back into the archive of thepowerofvoices.com and check it out. You may agree or may not disagree. I may have made you angry, or I may have made you sad or happy. Whatever I made you, my goal was to get you to start thinking out of the box, looking at problems in a different way than trying to think about them in the old way, the old-fashioned way, because those rules just don't work anymore. They just don't apply to our society anymore, and it's a shame that they don't, because life is certainly better than what we're living now in our very violent, unmannered, non-courteous, angry, scared, and frightened society. It doesn't matter whether you make $1 million a year or you make $1 a year. It makes no difference. People live in fear everywhere. And that got me to thinking. I had a discussion about a week and a half ago with a gentleman who I know really well. I've known for a long time. And he has a real angst against policing. Now, I am part of the Community Police Advisory Board here in the city of Los Angeles. I help the Foothill District, the Los Angeles Police Department. I'm a bridge, along with other business owners and activists like myself. I'm a bridge between the police and the community. We take a lot of the information and spread it out there and try to create a commonality between the police and the community. And in Los Angeles, that style was created after the Rodney King incident, where Rodney King was beat up. Not too far away from here. Actually, just down that street, right there, about 3 miles, where Rodney King was beat up. And Chief Gates was the LAPD chief at that time. And of course, what ensued after that were the riots after the trial. What ensued after that were the riots that took place over the next couple of years. And one of the times the riots got so bad, they got so bad that all of central Los Angeles, known as South Central at that time, was really ablaze and on fire. Almost as worse as the Watts riots in the early 60s. The police wouldn't even go in there because they were getting shot at from all kinds of directions by people that had weapons to shoot at the police. Now, you know I'm a proponent for the Second Amendment. I clearly stated that yesterday. But the police were turned on by the people. Many Korean business owners were turned on too by the people that lived in central Los Angeles. In fact, a lot of their buildings and businesses were burned. You saw many police just back away from the area. They were given the order to stay out, only to rescue fire trucks and to go in with firemen to quell the fires. And then back out as fast as you can, because even the firemen were being shot at. The Korean market owners would stand on their buildings with AK-47s and their weapons, fighting and shooting back at the people shooting at them. And he, my friend, is a proponent that believes the police are evil. The police are out to get certain racial groups. The police are out to get everybody. The police don't care. The police just want to be mean and ugly, terrible. And as my other friend says, evil. My argument on that is that they aren't. They're just men and women doing their job. They get paid by us, the taxpayers, to do their job. But his argument is, and he argued well, saying, look at all of the things, the shootings that we see on the internet, the random acts of violence that police officers take and do against other people. They shoot people that are unarmed. They ask questions later. They thuggery. They beat people up, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys at a time. They take people down that perhaps many watching think don't need to be taken down. The police are too violent. The police are too demanding. They don't trust certain groups of people, African Americans, Asians, Arabs, from that part of the world. They don't trust. They profile. They don't trust. They only trust white people. They're only good for Latinos. He posed every argument at me. Every argument I sat and listened to quietly for about a half hour. Every argument had a good sound structure behind it. I really couldn't deny, or I really couldn't argue against the imagery that he was posting in his words. And in fact, I agreed on many of his arguments. I said, yes, there is way too much violence in policing across the country. Yeah, you're right. There are police that shoot and kill and beat people up. You're absolutely right. There are police that are bad. There are police that are corrupt. There are police that take the money. There are police that work with the cartels. There are all kinds of policing agencies in our country. And there's all kinds of people working with them. So I sat and I listened. I listened to them tell me about the DEA and how corrupt they are. I listened and he told me about the FBI and how corrupt they are. And he had example after example after example as to how bad these entities are. Now, I did agree with him on one entity, how bad they are, and that's the CIA. They got to be the biggest drug agency in the world, really. And I did agree with him on that. But in terms of our policing inside the country, he talked about Sheriff Aparo in Arizona. And he talked about how ugly he is and how he doesn't take care of his prisoners and how mean he is to Latinos, thinking that they're all illegal immigrants. He talked about the people in Texas who are on the border patrol agents, and they really get paid off. They're paid to look the other way. And so for 30 minutes, I watched on my watch, right here, on this watch, for 30 minutes, I let him talk about the police. And I let him tell me how bad it was. And I let him tell me how disrupted his life had become because of the police. I let it get it all out. Then I asked him one question. Just one simple question I asked him. It was a question that I've asked many people who believe that all police agencies are out to get everybody. It's a question I always ask. It's a simple question. and it amounts to just a few little words. This is the Jesse T Show, broadcasting live right here on www.thepowerofvoices.com. We're here every Monday through Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. And always remember all the great programs on this radio station, and they have some great ones. We're also broadcasting on the Digital Broadcasting Network, so you can watch us on www.thepowerofvoices.com. Also AVTV Live at www.facebook.com/Jesse Terrero. You can go to us right now and watch us on YouTube Live as well under thepowerofvoices.com. As we utilize Skype today, we're Skyping it up as we talk about how violent our society is. So my friend, he finished after 30 minutes, and I said, his name is Mark. I said, Mark, let me ask you one question. Just one question. And he said, what? And I said, who do you call when someone's kicking down your door? He said, nothing. Who do you call when someone's beating up your child and you're not there? Who does somebody call if your wife is accosted walking out of a Walmart? Who do you call when terrorists destroy buildings and level them to the ground? Most of the time when I ask that question, the hypocrisy is as bright as a sunny day in Southern California. You know who we all call? We call 911. 911. That's who we call. And you know who's at the other end of 911? In Los Angeles, it's the Los Angeles Police Department, serving the community for 100 years. The Los Angeles Police Department, or the LA County Sheriff's Department, or any number one of the independent cities' police departments. That's who we call. And that's who comes running. Does your neighbor come running? Does the grocer down the street at Ralph's Market come running? Do the firemen come running? Only when they're called for fire problems. Does the truck driver driving down the street, seeing your wife be accosted, stop his truck and come running? No. Who comes running? Los Angeles Police Department, or your local police department in your community, your local sheriff's department in your community. That's who comes running. Ah! That's the rub of it all. Ha! Got you! Usually not much is said after that, because if the person is logical and they have some common sense and they're intellectual, they realize, yeah, you're right. I hate the police, but who do I call when I need them? Huh? Oh, the hypocrisy runs wild in the streets of America today. Who do we call? Not the Ghostbusters all. We call our police and sheriffs and our marshals, our police agencies, to help us. To help us. That's who we call. And what do they do? Excuse me. I'm at the donut shop right now. I just can't make it. I'll make it in 5 minutes. Call back my machine and text me later. Excuse me. Yeah, excuse me. I'm having a Mickey D hamburger. I'll catch you when I get done with my chocolate shake. Yeah. Oh, yeah. All of a sudden, within minutes, maybe seconds in your community, you hear a woo, 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 right? And a police car goes like 90 miles an hour down the street. And then another one. And then another one. And when they pop out ready for battle. They pop out to protect, to police, to create safety, to take care and stop whatever evil is taking place by anybody. They don't run away from the bullets. They don't run away from the anger and violence. They don't run away no matter how many they face. Whether they face 1 or 21. They stay on station. They stay on duty. And the reinforcements come. And you don't like them? Wait a minute here. Wait a minute. Whoa, Nelly. You don't like them? Don't call them. The next time you're in a jackpot of some time. The next time your family needs something. Teach your kids, your children, and your daughters and sons, and your nieces and your nephews. Don't call the police. You don't like them. And they're evil. They're rotten. They're disgusting. Call 911 and say, hey, don't worry. There's lots of gunshot fires here, and the gang members are fighting and killing everybody. But don't worry. You don't have to come, because I don't like you. If you did that, you know something? I would bow down and kiss the ground that you walk on. If you did that, you would receive the utmost respect from me, Jesse T. That respect would run wild because you are a man or woman of integrity. You don't walk the walk or talk the talk. You talk it and you walk it. You don't like the police? Don't call them. That'll free them up to help somebody else. You see, oftentimes we say things. Oftentimes stuff comes out of our mouths without our brain understanding. Because we are emotional creatures, us human beings. But so are police officers. They're emotional creatures too. Because they are human beings. We don't have RoboCop yet. That might be interesting. That might be coming. I don't think I'd want to face a RoboCop. I don't care. Here's the point. The point is really simple. How can you say something and act differently? So that's the pose. That's the question. What would this world be like without a police or sheriff force in your community? What kind of world would we be living in America? In LA, we know when Rodney King exploded and the police didn't show up, they burned hundreds of buildings. They were riding in the streets. They dragged people out of their trucks, just innocently going through intersections, beat them with bricks. In LA, we know chaos, anarchy. All the wonderful people came out to rob and loot and steal and take. All the wonderful people in our society came out just to see what they could burn and destroy. There was no police. Chief Daryl Gates said, I'm not having my officers shot. I'm going to pull them out and let it quiet down. We're going to escort police. We're going to escort fire and ambulance, and that's it. And that's what they did. You see, what would your society be like without the police? Well, look at Ferguson. What if there were no police? They burned down 25% of the friggin' downtown. Did you see those people looting? Well, what did looting have anything to do with what took place? Try to make that correlation for me, please. Because you see, we live in a society of a bunch of losers. I've come to the determination that our society is growing quick with losers. You don't just go break somebody's window and steal all their goods that they bought and worked hard for to sell. Given the opportunity and the chance, sometimes I think that the human quality today wants to be bad, wants to be violent, wants to get something for nothing, wants to take from somebody else as long as nobody can catch you. What do when you sit at a red light on a country road and that red light doesn't turn green? Do you run the red light? Pose that to your mind. That's a crazy question, isn't it? How long do you sit there? What do? Do you run the red light? Most everybody runs the red light, right? And then you drive about a half a mile down the road and a local county sheriff pulls you over and says, you know, you ran the red light back there. You should have waited. And you plead your case. Well, that red light, man, it was like 12 minutes. Yeah, there's no cars coming. I could see you for miles down the... You ran the red light. You ran the red light. You broke the law. The law is not supposed to be broken. See, anarchy and chaos. One time, when my son and daughter were really young, we took a trip through the state of Wyoming. And we called it the Pioneer Trip. And the Pioneer Trip was really cool. We did all the cowboy and Indian stuff, all the West. The West was really in Wyoming. Wild Bill Hickok, George Custer, the great Indian chiefs, Sitting Bull, all of these things, the forts, the Pioneer Trail, Devil's Rock. It's just, Wyoming is, if you ever have the chance to go to Wyoming, go to Wyoming. So we did this Pioneer vacation. It took us like 6 weeks. And we traveled all through Wyoming and the Dakotas. And we also traveled a little bit into Colorado. I didn't like Colorado that much. It sort of reminded me of California. Now Colorado, you know, is California on steroids. I mean, Colorado's going crazy. But anyhow, and we got stuck out in the middle of the Wyoming high plains. And the same scenario came up. So I'm sitting there in the rented RV, right? The rented van RV. I'm sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And, you know, everybody's telling me, go, 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 right? And I thought to myself, no, I'm not going to go. I don't care if I got to friggin' wait here for 24 hours. I'm not going to go. And the reason why is because I had two young'uns in the back, and I wanted them to understand that you don't break the law just because you want to, because it's convenient to you. And it went on for about another 15 to 20 minutes, and it finally turned green for us. And on we went and on our way. We waited at that light for like an hour. And so, really, about 45 minutes. So we got to this little town, maybe about 10 miles down the road, and we got something to eat, and I was talking to the local sheriff, right? And I said, you guys got to do something about that light over there, back there 10 miles or so. Oh, he goes, oh, yeah, we know all about that light. And I said, you got to do something about that. And he said, well, that light is set up that way, and it's set up that way on purpose. And I said, well, why? And he said to me, he goes, well, a lot of people travel so fast down those two highways that we've had a multitude of death and accidents right there at that intersection. They travel so fast and they don't pay attention And all of a sudden, the other cars were traveling so fast and didn't pay attention. We decided to make that light very, very long. I said, 45 minutes? He said, well, it's not supposed to be 45 minutes. It's supposed to be like 5 to 10 minutes long, right? And so he said, well, we'll send somebody out to fix it. But here's the point. The point is, there's a reason for something. There's a reason for law and rule and regulation. And there's a reason for police. Could you imagine a world without police? Yeah, here's the call. Here's the call. I'm going to get in the car right now. And I'm going to leave this location. And I'm going to take a drive to a location where the police have a real difficult time for decades. And it's a projects over here, not in Pacoima here. And you stay with me. I won't leave you. We'll keep going. If we do get disconnected, Lee knows what to do back at the studio. But we're still going to continue going here, and we'll hook it back up real quick. We got good, strong connections out here, even when we roll down the highway. In fact, we should be playing that song by Bachman Turner Overdrive, rolling down the highway. Anyhow, so I'm going to go to this place over here where there aren't too many police. Well, they're policing all the time, but they constantly have a problem. It's not the best place to be in. And the reason why I'm going to go there, because I want to walk around that community a little bit. And if I can, I want to ask some folks. I'm going to ask some folks over there if they would want a world without police. And a lot of folks over there don't like the police. So hopefully I'll come in, I'll catch up with some people as I go. But it's only a few minutes down the road here for our radio audience. I've got in my car, and I'm leaving the Foothill Division in Pacoima and Sun Valley, and I'm going eastbound on a street called Osborne, and I got the police pulling out here for some reason. Yeah, oh, see there they go, and there they go, lights ablazing, right out of the police station. A world without police. They're going to save somebody right now. What if they weren't here? What if they weren't here to save somebody? What would that person who needs their help be doing? So, anyway, we're heading eastbound on the street called Osborne, and we're at the corner of Osborne and San Fernando Road. If you want to Google search where I'm at right now for our radio audience and our TV audience, I'm about ready to make a left past a little airport called Whiteman Airport. When we were growing up, my mother was a flyer. She flew, and we had a couple little single-engine planes here. That's where I kind of learned how to fly. I don't have a license, but I learned how to fly anyway. A little single-engine tri-pacer. It went all of about 150 miles an hour in the air. It was an old plane, but it was cool and it was fun, and that was a fun life. But right here, we're about ready to make a left-hand turn. We're going to go over down San Fernando Road northbound. And we're gonna go down to a street called Paxton and make a right, and then we're gonna kind of melt into the projects there. And it's actually between Paxton and Pierce, and we're gonna melt into the projects there. And those have been a challenging projects for a long time. There's been police activity in there for as long as I can remember. Growing up here in the Los Angeles area. 54 of my 55 years of life living here. I was born in Chicago originally, but growing up here in the LA area, this was where we primarily settled here in Burbank and Sun Valley, and that's still where I reside most of the time. But the neighborhood over here has changed dramatically in my lifetime, as most neighborhoods have around the country. Some of the neighborhoods have gotten worse here with more crime. In fact, crime is up 15 to 20%, according to our last Community Police Advisory Board meeting last week, our CPAB meeting. It's been up 15 or 20% over this time last year. Break-ins and assaults. That's what seems to be really up here. So as I'm driving, if you're watching us, I'm driving and talking and doing lots of things at the same time. So yeah, I can multitask. So anyhow, we're going past the airport. You can kind of see the airport here out my window. And for those and our radio audience. We're kind of, as I said, going northbound the Santa Ana Road, and we're going to come up to this next light, and we're going to then be able to get to these projects. And what I'm hoping to be able to do is I'm hoping to be able to walk through the projects and talk to a few people and just pose the question to them and ask them what would they want? Would they want a world without police, or would they want a world with police and a world without police? And it's going to be interesting to see what their responses are, whatever their responses are. It'll be interesting to see. So I'm going to get my ABTV live microphone out so that in case I have a club here, to club somebody with my ABTV microphone, ABTV live entertainment channel microphone, and my flag box around the microphone. And I got running shoes on in case I got to run. I'm going to turn and run real fast. So we might see some action. Yeah, wouldn't that be cool? Jesse T, the Brown Beauty's on duty, and his little booty is running fast as his shoes can muster up the speed. Oh my goodness. Anyhow, this is the Jesse T Show, Monday through Friday from 5 to 6, and we're out and about. We like to do this, so we like to get out, and we like to really get down to where the real challenges and the real topics and the real choices and the realness of life actually takes place. And so today's show is about posing the question, if you just come on board, it's posing the question of, many people in this country are bashing police. Many people are calling them all the names from the 1960s and even worse. Many people are destroying police property. Many people are attacking the police on all fronts. And but yet those same people call the police when they need them. So I'm exposing the hypocrisy, because here's the question. What would it be like, and would you like to live in a community, your community, where there was no police? None at all. There was no sheriff to come in and help you on your 911 call. They were all out on vacation that day. So that's the question. Can you imagine what the world would be like without police? It's pretty interesting. And so hopefully today I will spread some light, and I'll be able to talk to some folks who I can chat with real briefly and pose the question, what would the world be like without police? So some of the language might be kind of tart, because I can't control that. Some of the language might be kind of coarse and kind of rough, because I really won't be able to control that as I enter the neighborhood here, and as I'm entering the projects here. So if it is, I apologize for that. If it isn't, that's good. There doesn't seem to be a lot of people walking around here, but I've got to let this person by. And I'm going to walk up to some folks. I'm going to park down here on the other end where my car is a little safer. I have a car that is very indiscriminate, that I use on a daily basis, so that people just walk by my car and don't even realize anything about it. It's no different than anybody else's car driving down the street. But I'm going to kind of walk through here and see what kind of information I can get and grasp as I get closer to where I'm going to park. We're going to hang out here in what's known as the projects. And let me see if I can switch this camera around right now and show you folks that are watching. These are the projects. They're typical projects that everybody knows about, that everybody has in their community. There's nothing new. These projects are in every community across the United States of America. They were built back in the 50s, late 40s and 50s, and they have gone through many different cycles of these projects. So I'm going to go park over here by by the school right here. That's a fire station that I'm going to. So they've got a school right in the middle of these projects here. As I find a parking spot right up here, and then we're going to get out and we're going to kind of walk the beat here in the San Fernando Valley, the Pacoima area. In fact, I'm going to park right here for right now. Yeah, this is going to be a good spot. I'll park right here for right now, and I'm going to get my stuff out here. So bear with me while I shut the car down, and I move here over to these projects and see what kind of mischief I can get into. Oh, somebody says mischief. What kind of, what kind of information? Mischief is probably the wrong word. Hold on one second. All right. For those who are watching, I just put you on my chair, and for those who are listening, I just put everybody on my front seat. Got to make sure my battery is okay in my portable mic, my wireless mic. Okay. Let's see. There we go. Perfection at its best. Okay, I got everything locked up. I got everything hid. And I'm exiting the car right now as I get out onto what's known as
Jesse, I don't know if you can hear me, but we lost your audio. Check your microphone. Jesse, apparently when you plugged your microphone in, we lost your audio here at the studio. Can you hear me?
Or something, and nobody shows up. Nobody. What would you? How would you feel about that?
Well, I'm a licensed armed security guard,
Right.
so
So you're okay with that?
I'm okay. I can.
Well, do you think the police are good for society, or do you think we should just get rid of them all across the nation? Forget about them all.
Well, some are good and some are bad. They put me in this gang injunction, which I'm not even a gang member.
Right.
So
Right.
the officer that put me in that gang injunction, he's corrupted and he's no good because
Right.
I'm not even a gang.
Do you think one bad apple wrecks the whole barrel?
Definitely.
So we have to do better on getting the bad guys out of the police department, so that the good guys can continue to do their job in the police department.
Yes, because it's definitely, uh, they label me as a menace to society. That's defamation of character.
Right.
They took me home, coming home from,
Right.
they took me to jail, coming home from work after taking a 3-hour train ride.
So your feeling basically is the police did an injustice to you because of a bad cop or something like that. And if we clean that up, then we can clean up and have better police and community relations.
We just got to clean up the whole police department, get rid of everybody, just bring a whole new staff.
Yeah.
That's what I recommend.
Right.
That's what I.
Well, thanks a lot, man. Good luck in your career and good luck in your time.
Thank you. What's your name again?
Jesse Torero.
It's a pleasure, Jesse.
Thank you, Jess. Thanks, buddy. All right. So you see, you get a point of view which is different. He believes because the police, did some injustice to him, rightfully so, as he explained. He believes that what's taken place is that you need to clean out the whole police department and clean it up. He believes that one bad apple can wreck the whole barrel. So you see, we're talking about a diverse set of ideas. But I still pose the question, what would it be like if there was no police? What would the world be like if there was no police? How would people get along if they didn't have a 911 to call and nobody showed up? What would happen? What would happen to our society? Could our society withstand that? Could our society get past and solve its own problems by itself? I pose the thought that probably not. Because, you see, there are things that happen in society by bad people, like gangs and gang members. And they take advantage of situations where they know the police are not going to show up. The looters and the bad people there, they take advantage of that situation where they know the police are not going to be fast to respond. Now, this area has changed. Several people have said it's nice to live in here. And many of them said because of the police. The police patrol in here quite a bit now. They've created a community here of people that get together, and what they do is they police themselves, utilizing the police department. But if the police department wasn't there, could they continue that type of understanding in their neighborhood? It's a pretty interesting question. I pose the argument that they couldn't. Because you see, like in the police department, a few bad apples wreck the barrel. In the community, a few bad community and citizens wreck the citizens and the community. So you see, it's an interesting dilemma. The idea that police are good or police are bad, the idea that we should have good policing or we shouldn't have any policing or all police badly, it's a very difficult question to answer. My answer is that we would not want to live in a society without police. How could you imagine what it would be like for just a moment if something went wrong and your sheriff didn't show up? The hypocrisy of it all is that when you think about it, is something that is a really difficult element to get through, because we all have had our dealings with government, but yet we call on government to help us with other things. And the police are government. So where do you draw the line? Where does that hazy situation where you point the finger and you say they're all bad, and then you decide that you need them when something bad is happening to you? It's an impossibility to sift out all the bad ones. Like in society, it's an impossibility to sift out all the bad folks that are causing problems. What it is that we have to have certain agencies that are in place to allow us to stay a society without chaos and anarchy. And the police are one of them. The sheriffs are one of them. So I think that we need to recognize them for who and what these men and women are and what they do. I believe strongly that we have to appreciate their jobs and how difficult their jobs are. We have to appreciate the contributions that they make to keeping us safe when we most need somebody to arrive and help. We have to learn to appreciate these efforts and this dedication. At the same time, we have to figure out a way to call the bad ones out. And that's always been the dilemma, hasn't it, though? The internet just makes it easier to see. I certainly would like to see more good stories about the police department on the internet. I'd like to see where they come in and they actually save lives. I'd like to see where they come in and they actually help stop violent situations. I'd like to see these types of things. I'd like to see the image of how we expose our police should be exposed in a positive way. Because I believe that they've done much more for our society in a positive way than they've done in a negative way. The result is that we all call upon them when we need them. The result is that no matter how much you hate them, you love them because you call on them. That's the result. And the result tells us that most of the police and sheriffs are great people. And we have to put that on a pedestal. We have to look at that and say, yeah, we have to expose that and applaud that. That's how we make policing better. That unique relationship they have with the citizens. That unique relationship they have with their own struggles. Next time you see a police officer or a sheriff, walk up to him or her and say, thank you. Thank you for your effort, and thank you for your time. And thank you for helping those that you help that I don't know. Thank you very much for being there when nobody else will be. Thank you very much for doing your job. And you'll be interesting. It'll be interesting for you to get the reaction that you'll get. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. This is Jesse Terrero at www.thepowerofvoices.com. The Jesse T Show, Monday through Friday from 5 to 6. Every day of the week. Live at 5. Straight on the point. The Brown Beauty is off duty. See ya.